How's it going, guys? Coffee here. Today I wanted to do the update for the Shock Boneshatter Slayer. I did end up using the Shock Tinctures for leveling. I think when I got into the mid-80s, I ended up coming across a few of these Warcries grant 5 rage per 5 power charms. I was able to purchase these, and based off of kind of what I was seeing, these seem to basically come out ahead. So if you look at the tinctures here, we were using the shock tincture and we were getting roughly like a 22% shock or something like that on most things because we're getting a lot of smaller hits just really fast, like our hits are kind of capping out at, somewhere like 1,000,000 damage or something at most. But what is happening with that, because of that, the shock value ends up really not that high. And you do have to kind of build things around this, right? We were having to get shock chance on our flasks in order to make this work, along with the tinctures. But with charms, again, we kind of knew that charms are going to end up being the end game for almost every build. And for the Boneshatter Slayer, these are the charms that I found to be the best. These Warcry grant 5 rage per 5 power, along with the ones that I have this maximum fire resistance on them, just for some extra defenses. And the reason why this is so strong is, again, combined with your Ancestral Cry. This is giving you... so right now already, with only 2 of them in, when I'm on bosses, whenever I click Ancestral Cry, I get 40 rage instantly. So this means we can use rage, or we can actually use Berserk on bosses. This is really, really strong, so you can maintain really, really high uptime on Berserk itself. So, and along with this, again, as you see, the bonuses on Berserk are very, very big, right? You're getting a lot less damage taken, you're getting a lot more attack speed, and then because of that, again, these rage ones end up making the most sense. They come out ahead just because you are getting this 20% more damage with attacks, and you're getting this very, very frequently. Between this with the 20% more damage, 20% more attack speed, this does come out ahead of the shock tincture, especially for bosses, things like that. The extra defenses are always good, and it just feels really, really good to have Berserk up all the time in maps. The other little thing I am using right now is I am actually using a level 1 Warlord's Mark for mapping instead of running vulnerability. I did find that this having just, again, more rage generation to maintain higher uptime on Berserk was just feeling better than running Vulner or Punishment. I did end up still stick with a Tainted Pact setup here. I haven't gotten any of my gear really set up yet. I still don't have my plus struck strike on my gloves. I haven't really tried crafting too much of this yet. I did end up just buying like a generic 6-link chest here. And then I ended up just buying and crafting a Stygian real fast with this here. For the axe itself, I ended up buying a fractured base. I think I paid 150C for this base when I bought it, and then I used Veiled Chaos Orbs on it in order to get this. I think this is roughly a little over 700 PDPS. With this, you're basically just rolling until you hit the percent physical damage hybrid craft, or you want basically the percent physical damage hybrid or the attack speed hit on this, and then you with along with getting the poison with the physical damage thing mod. If you were to hit this, and basically if you hit the attack speed instead of hitting the hybrid, then you would just end up getting to craft double damage while focused on here instead, or just double damage, whichever. If you didn't want to have more buttons to hit, you could just do double damage. For the tree, I ended up swapping my tree just recently because I did end up picking up a Lethal Pride here with Strength of Blood to use this for some extra defenses. If you go into PoE here between Strength of Blood with Volpact, as well as the extra life recovery from Brutal Fervor, you are getting, I want to say, what does it come out to? It ends up adding up to be quite a lot of physical damage reduction from Strength of Blood. So you can run this, and for the endgame version of this build, you can actually kind of get rid of basically all of the armor that you're running. You don't even need to run a Jade or a Granite, and you can still hit 90% damage reduction just with Strength of Blood. You do end up having to path down here and what is this? Hematophagy. And then you want to take this 25% increased maximum total life mastery. When you do that, I haven't pathed into that yet. I'm probably still going to go for a cluster jewel first, and then I'll end up pathing into that. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and link what the endgame tree for this is planned to be, like the actual endgame. It looks like with the charms, you're just going to want to rely fully on just trying to maintain as high of berserk uptime as possible, so you don't really end up using the tinctures. The tincture mods that are available, they're some good quality of life, right? You get some strike range, or you get some extra splash on your melee attacks down here, right? So I have one of these over here, melee strike skill splash with some slightly less area of effect, or you get extra strike range, or you get this headhunter buff, things like that. These are okay, but like, again, compared to what you're getting with charms with the actual, like, you know, really, really high uptime on berserk, you just can't beat that, right? Like, berserk's the best buff in the game. If you have a way that you can utilize it and keep it up really, really long, then that's what you're going to want to do. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, other than that, I got my watchstones down. My Atlas is at 86. I haven't been playing quite as much as maybe I should, but I've been having a good time with it. The League mech is very fun. There's still a lot of things to learn in there, and it's still a bit overtuned though, right? Like, you'll run into just random packs that will still one-shot builds that, like, I'm sitting on like 80% all-res on everything right now. 81, 79, 80 resistances, along with, again, my physical damage reduction. This isn't even just with armor. This is like just from the physical damage reduction. I know in PoB it's going to show it higher. I don't even think the physical damage reduction from Strength of Blood even shows in here. Maybe it does. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't. So this is 76, not even counting Strength of Blood, which is just making it even higher. Yeah, when it comes to that, we're pretty much in a way where you know, you want to just basically build around this. This is the end game stuff. Like, right now you can get these lethal prides for maybe 50 chaos. So with the cluster jewels still being a little bit more expensive right now, you want to just transition into getting your defenses, float around to like 700 DPS axe. It's more than enough to do T16 ultimatums and things like that. I did do ultimatum on the build as well. I have some recordings of some footage here. I'll put it at the end of the video here. Unfortunately, the loot that you are getting from ultimatum for the amount of time that you are putting into it, as well as like the amount of just random one shots you're getting on it, it's just not really worth it. From what it seems, the rewards just aren't enough for the amount of time that it takes with the amount of just dealing with like the visual clutter and everything right now. Until you get a build that can legitimately just stand in the middle and never have to worry about anything moving ever, which this build can basically do that almost entirely, except for like a few things, right? You'll randomly get some weird overtuned rares still that either end up empowered from the League mechanic or something else, and then I will go from being perfectly fine and not taking any damage to just like randomly getting one shot. So haven't had too many failures in Ultimatum, but the loot that I have been getting from T10s, even in tier 16 maps, has just not been good enough to justify doing the mechanic. So because of that, right now my Atlas is just Wandering Path with some Expedition, Essence, and Heist. I'm going to be dropping Wandering Path here soon, and then I'll just end up sticking with this Big Bomb Expedition along with Heist and Essence, and I'm just going to be using that to be farming up some money to continue to push the build. I'm working on trying to link a Diala's For the chest, because I am using the Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, we did get to see the numbers here on the quality, which does give 5% more damage per trauma. So it's slightly better than the quality on the base version. Actually, no, it's the exact same as the quality on the base version. But maintaining Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, the damage is higher again as long as you're below 36 stacks of trauma. And this one's more consistent, right? You don't ever end up in a situation where you're having to float more and more and more trauma. If you get to the point where you're consistently like staying really, really high attack speed and you want to build really deep into maintaining a lot of trauma, you can. But I haven't been trying to do that yet. I'll have to test this build again soon once I actually get the cluster jewel and all the attack speed in. But yeah, other than that, I will keep you guys updated if there's any other changes that I make or any other things that I find out between now and then. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And other than that, see you in the next one.